of the Cursed Lake. Chapter 2, Whispers in the Mist. Part 1. On the 5th morning of our stay in the village, Anna suggested we go down to the lake to feed the swans. The mist clung low over the ground, thick and heavy, swallowing sound, and softening the outlines of the world around us. The narrow path led away from the cottage toward the water, winding between crooked trees and sagging fences, their shapes blurred by the drifting fog. Even the crunch of our boots on the damp earth seemed quieter than it should have been, absorbed by the air itself. Anna walked ahead of me, humming softly, the paper bag of stale bread crumpled in one hand. Her pale blonde hair caught what little light filtered through the mist, strands glowing faintly against the gray backdrop. There was a grace to her movements, something fluid and light, yet somehow distant, as if each step drew her a little further away from the here and now. I followed, keeping my eyes on her, uneasy at how easily the fog could swallow a person whole. It felt as though the world narrowed the closer we came to the lake, the air pressing in, the silence deepening. The lake emerged before us, still and black as polished stone. Not a single ripple touched its surface. The water reflected nothing, holding the sky and the mist alike in its flat, unmoving mirror. There was no breeze, no bird song, only the soft whisper of Anna's humming and the muffled beat of my own heart. She stopped at the shoreline, kneeling gracefully, and began to scatter crumbs across the wet ground and into the water. The bread fell from her fingers like offerings, each piece disappearing into the stillness. From out of the fog, pale shapes began to form, the swans gliding silently toward us, their white bodies ghostly against the gray. "They're waiting," Anna said softly, almost to herself. I watched the swans draw closer, their black eyes fixed, their gaze sharp and steady. There was something unsettling in their silence, in the way they moved without effort, without sound, as though the water itself carried them forward. "They seem too knowing," I said, my throat tightening around the words. Anna didn't answer right away. She kept her eyes on the birds, her expression unreadable, as if she understood something I could not. Slowly, she stretched out her hand toward the nearest swan, her fingers delicate as feathers. I shifted my gaze for only a moment. There, at the edge of my vision, something moved between the trees, a flicker of shape in the mist, human or animal, I couldn't tell. I turned, squinting into the fog, trying to make sense of the shadow that shifted and vanished before I could fix my eyes upon it. "Anna," I called, turning back. She was gone. The shoreline where she had knelt was empty, save for the bag of bread, torn open and abandoned in the mud. No footprints marked the wet ground. No ripples disturbed the lake's surface. The swans drifted closer, their eyes never leaving me, silent and watchful, "Anna," I called again, louder now, my voice cutting through the mist, but the sound came back wrong, echoing from strange directions, as if the fog itself toyed with it. I stumbled to the water's edge, scanning the shore, my pulse hammering in my throat. "Anna," I shouted, spinning in place, searching for any sign of her. But there was nothing. Only the stillness, the blank white wall of fog, the silent procession of swans. Panic surged through me. I waded into the icy water, calling her name until my voice broke raw. The cold bit into my legs as I pushed further, the swans parting smoothly around me, unbothered, unafraid. There was no splash, no sign of struggle, no trace of her. I staggered back onto the shore, breathless, soaked to the knees, my hands shaking. "Anna," I screamed again, the sound muffled and small against the vast hush of the lake. The mist began to thin as the morning crept on, but the emptiness remained. I searched the shoreline in widening circles, stumbling through reeds and mud, calling until my voice broke apart and my throat burned raw. There was nothing but silence, the fog curling slow and indifferent above the water. At last, I ran back toward the village, desperate, stopping every person I saw, describing Anna, begging for help. The villagers listened, their faces flat, unreadable. Some shook their heads, others looked away. One old woman crossed herself at the mention of the lake and hurried off without a word. By afternoon, I returned to the water alone. The mist had lifted. The lake lay smooth and ordinary beneath the pale sun. The swans remained gliding soundlessly, their black eyes following my every step along the shore. I sank to my knees at the water's edge, my hands clutched tight around Anna's scarf, the only thing of hers I could find, half buried in the mud, damp and limp, as though the life had been drawn out of it. And there, in the quiet, with the swans watching, the terrible truth began to settle inside me. Anna was gone.